Hi, my name is Toby, and this is May's Morsels. Welcome to the Back to School Countdown Day 8 before I head back to the classroom. In this video today, there's not much going on. I have the privilege of meeting with the ASL interpreters that work in my classroom today for lunch. So we're going to have like a working lunch meeting, so that should be fun. And then I'll just give a quick update. I haven't done too much on my to-do list, but most of the video is going to kind of be about that lunch meeting with my ASL interpreters. And then I had one other dinner with a friend of mine, and so I'll update you about that meeting as well. So thanks for coming, and hang on while I switch my screen so we can talk ASL interpreter business. All right, so here's the conference that the ASL interpreters attended over the summer. All of them really enjoyed the conference and benefited from it. So here's a little screenshot of the website and the registration and everything. And then as I switch, I'll just briefly go over the topics that they covered, and you can kind of read along with the screen. But this first session was applying bilingual interpretation strategies in real time. This is really important because we are navigating two languages with the two students who use sign language to communicate. We do believe in my room that we can use American Sign Language to teach English in either the spoken form or for the students who do not verbally speak with their mouth and only use sign language. We're teaching English as a second language in print, literacy print, so in for reading and writing. So it's very important that the interpreters also realize that this is a bilingual situation and how to use American Sign Language to then teach English. So I'm super excited that they had this training. There was a training a couple years ago that dealt with this same similar topic in a different format, and I actually got to attend that conference. I think it was during COVID because we met on Teams. I think it was during COVID or just after COVID. I can't remember, but it was a great training and just kind of refreshed my knowledge about yes, we can use language one to teach language two. So that's very important in the field of deaf education, in my opinion. Next, here's advancing educational interpreter skills through training and assessment. This session was all about helping interpreters who are not yet certified to become certified and what resources are available for them to practice for their the knowledge test and the performance test for ASL interpreting and all the resources available for that. So that's phenomenal because the ultimate goal is that our interpreters are all certified. And I guess the state of Tennessee wants everybody at 3.5 or higher on the EIPA. So that's awesome. This one was H.O.R.S.E, H-O-R-S-E, how our relationships support engagement. So he kind of looked at brain development, and I believe the discussion from the interpreters, they basically said it kind of went into a little bit of trauma and how trauma impacts language development and all of that, and then different things with how equine therapy can help with stuff like that. This next one is learning and movement, the brain-body connection. So that was all about using brain and body activities together to build language and vocabulary and learning environments. So they didn't talk very much about this session. So later on, I'm hoping that we'll discuss more about this. But and I don't know if this has anything to do with what I already do, but I already incorporate a lot of physical movement in my classroom. So I'm not sure if that is the same type of discussion that they had during this training, but we will find out later on this year as the year unfolds. Lastly is called Wait, Look at What Now? This was all about mainstream students and all of the visual things that they have to attend to. It's very, very hard for our signing students in the mainstream classroom to visually keep up with everything they're expected to look at, especially when they don't have auditory access and they might not hear a sound or a person talking behind them to know to turn. So being cognizant of the visual, not uh, like creating an environment where the deaf student is not split in their visual attention. So we can't have the instructional slides and the interpreter over here and the classroom teacher standing over here because the eyes cannot do that. So making sure that there's a direct sight line for that student to see the teacher, the instruction, the interpreter, or whatever they need to see. So this comes a lot with how we develop accommodations in the general education classroom for our students, as far as making sure the preferential seating is supportive of the student having direct sight line to all instruction, ensuring that the teacher gives wait time in between transitions and directions so that if there's a classroom discussion, that will give the interpreter time to move to where the student is who's speaking back to the teacher to wherever the interpreter needs to move so that student has visual access for things. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I am sure I do want to ask the interpreters more about that demand control schema because I have not heard of that. So I'm going to, of course, be requesting more information about that because I'm super curious about the demand control schema, and also just researching more the multiple visual demands that deaf students have in the classroom. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, especially when most of them are learning content that is above their current functional language level. It's a lot to process. So that's kind of an overview of what the interpreters learned at their uh, workshop this summer. So it was pretty exciting. It seems to be pretty beneficial for our classroom as well. All right. So the rest of the meeting with the ASL interpreters was just spent on catching up on life because we don't communicate too much over the summer. We love each other and whatever, but during the summer, it's kind of like we all need our time to decompress and just spend time with our families and our friends and doing things in our free time over the summer. So we caught up a little bit on summertime activities, and it was just fun. After that, I gave them a handwritten schedule of the two signers that are in my room of when they would be in my room for resource times and when they had inclusion time. And they worked together to start building an interpreter schedule for those students. So I think we at least got 90% of their interpreter schedule done based on their school day. Just we discussed some of the things we need to bring up when we speak to gen ed teachers. Most of our students have a teacher that has been at our school in the past, so they're very familiar with having a student with who is deaf or hard of hearing in their classroom and what those accommodations could be like. So just fine tune. I think we only have one classroom teacher who is new to our school, but again, I don't know her background. She could have had a deaf student in her room before. So we kind of just reviewed some talking points that we need to go over when we review classroom accommodations, and we also go heavy into the role of an educational interpreter in the classroom. So the teacher has an awareness that they are a separate role from a TA, a teacher, or me. They have a whole separate role that they are responsible for in that classroom with that student. Let's see what else. I think that's about it. We just kind of reviewed those things, scheduling, and caught up for the summer. So it was a great time. I always enjoy Learning from my ASL interpreters. I enjoy spending time with them. We just have a great team, and we're all there to just promote student success. We just keep that as our goal. One other thing that I got to do that day was I got to eat dinner with a friend of mine. She's a special ed teacher, and she recently took a different position during early intervention, so that birth to three range. So it was just really cool to catch up with her and, all of her uh, summer events. She's actually doesn't have the summers off anymore since she switched to this new position. So just listening to her manage that transition from being classroom teacher 10 months out of the year to early intervention and just learning about the resources available in our state for that age range for birth to three and just learning about the things that this organization or this business is doing to support families. So she gets to travel to the homes of uh, these little babies and work with families on interventions in the home for helping their child make progress. And she does have just general special needs students, and she also has a few with hearing loss on her caseload. And she did inform me that they don't talk about it as hearing loss anymore, that they talk about these students in regards to their hearing level, which I think is great. So, anyways, it was great catching up with her and just learning about the things in early intervention world because I'm elementary school world and I've done middle and high school in the past when I was itinerant, but I've never done early intervention. Even though I've learned about it, I've never worked in that field. So it was really cool to learn something new about what's going on in early intervention world. As I close out this video, I just wanted to make a couple other comments regarding the field of deaf education. There are many topics in my field that are very controversial, with many different people having many different opinions regarding the education of students who are deaf or hard of hearing. And I just want to like lay it all out here. There may be some things in my videos that you don't agree with. There might be some things that you think are great. Just please keep in mind that all of us are focused on student success. All of us are working with our level of expertise, our experience, our training, our teams, and within the realm of the resources that we have in our current positions. So please be kind in your comments if you disagree with something that I mentioned, like a rationale or a reasoning for why we do something the way we do it in my district. Like districts kind of make the rules for some of us teachers, and we know what best practices are, but sometimes implementing those best practices is very difficult to do, or we don't have the necessary resources or trained personnel to do the specific interventions or whatever. So please be kind in your comments. We are all trying to work this out together. And trust me when I say that I want success for every single student. And I will always do my best with my team to link arms and try to help promote student success so that they can become fully functioning, communicating individuals in this world. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for giving me a morsel of your time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!